November 4th, 2019. Gunmen unleashed a hail of bullets upon a 3-car convoy en route to a wedding ceremony. How did these innocent victims, all U.S. Mexican citizens with ties to a peaceful Mormon community, come to be in the line of fire? That's what we'll unravel in today's video. So, let's begin. A history of violence. The LeBaron family, a large group of American-Mexican dual citizens, has a rich history of residing in the border region between Chihuahua, Mexico and the U.S. state of Arizona. However, the story of how the LeBaron clan ended up in this perilous corner of northern Mexico is not one of unity, but rather a division that dates back several decades. The 1890s, Mormon fundamentalists began migrating to Mexico after splitting from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The main reason for this separation was their disagreement over polygamy. While the mainstream church based in Utah had prohibited polygamy to comply with U.S. law, the breakaway Mormon groups continued to practice it. Although polygamy was also illegal in Mexico, there was a tacit understanding that the authorities would turn a blind eye to their marital practices. 1920. Alma LeBaron, the patriarch of the LeBaron groups, established Colonia LeBaron in Chihuahua. They acquired land in Sonora and Chihuahua, and established ranches and other settlements. Over time, the Mormon community south of the border grew in both numbers and wealth. After Alma LeBaron passed away, his son Joel took over the leadership of the offshoot. It was during this time that the LeBaron family name gained notoriety. Joel's brother, Ervil LeBaron, served as his second in command, until they had a falling out over the direction of the church. Ervil, an unstable and dangerous cult leader with 13 wives and numerous children, decided to break away and form his own sect. 1972. Ervil ordered the murder of his brother, and it is believed that Ervil's followers carried out dozens of other killings at his command, including the murder of one of his wives and 2 of his children. Ervil died in prison in 1981. However, in recent years, the LeBaron family has managed to live a relatively peaceful life, free from interference by the U.S. or Mexican government. Unfortunately, though, violence has once again become associated with their name. As you can imagine, living in the regions of Mexico controlled by drug cartels makes it nearly impossible to avoid the drug war. 2009. The Mormons in the northern states of Mexico were warned in the clearest possible terms that they inhabited Tierra sin ley, a lawless land. Benjamin LeBaron, the great-grandson of the group's founder Alma, bravely spoke out against organized crime. He condemned the extortion and intimidation faced by local farmers, and even formed a group called SOS Chihuahua, urging towns to report abuses to the authorities. July 7, 2009. Benjamin was forcibly taken from his family home by armed gunmen, along with his brother-in-law, Luis Widmar, who tried to intervene. The following day, their lifeless bodies were discovered on the outskirts of town, bearing signs of brutal beatings and torture. The drug cartels made it abundantly clear to the LeBaron family that they should not interfere with their operations or business interests. They were warned not to involve the police or draw attention to any suspicious activities nearby. Disregarding this warning would result in paying with their lives. The LeBaron family received the message loud and clear. For over a decade, they managed to avoid any incidents and establish an uneasy truce with the local cartels. However, this fragile peace was shattered when an unimaginable atrocity occurred in the unforgiving deserts of Mexico. The Massacre. The dirt road that winds through the treacherous Sierra Madre Mountains is one of the most dangerous roads in all of Mexico. It's controlled by ruthless men who shoot first and ask questions later. And certainly this remote, rocky, and frigid terrain is no place for innocent children to meet their tragic end, trapped in a burning car, riddled with bullets. November 4th, 2019. A horrifying incident unfolded as a group of gunmen unleashed a fatal attack on 3 SUVs carrying members of the LeBaron family. They were on their way to a family gathering and a joyous wedding ceremony. The first vehicle, carrying Ronita Miller LeBaron and her 4 children, was the first to be targeted. The other 2 vehicles were closely followed behind, one driven by Donna Ray Langford with 9 children as passengers, and the other was driven by Christina Mary Langford with her 7-month-old daughter. According to reports, bullets, the gunman mercilessly killed Christine Langford as she bravely jumped out of her vehicle and waved her hands to show she posed no threat. Her lifeless body was found 15 yards away from her car, while her 7-month-old daughter miraculously remained unharmed inside the vehicle. Heart-wrenching phone messages exchanged between family members revealed the unfolding tragedy. One message described a car engulfed in flames, riddled with these bullets, and people desperately hiding in nearby bushes. The burned-out vehicle, discovered 11 miles away from where the other 2 women were killed, contained the lifeless bodies of Miller LeBaron, her 10-year-old daughter, 12-year-old son, and infant twins. It was later revealed that the vehicle had broken down due to a flat tire and was tragically turned into an explosive inferno by the barrage of bullets fired into it. When the shooting finally stopped, the gunmen approached the vehicles and pulled the surviving children out. They gestured and spoke to them in Spanish, telling them to leave the area. The kids had no other option but to start walking away. Among them were a 13-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl. They bravely walked away from the horrifying scene, determined to seek help. The boy walked an astonishing 14 miles over 6 long hours before finally reaching the safety of the family compound. Before leaving, he made sure to cover his 6 surviving siblings with branches, hiding him in the bushes for protection. However, as nightfall approached and the boy had not returned, the girl grew increasingly worried. She decided to embark on her own journey to find help, walking for another 6 grueling hours. The search for the survivors began between 6 and 7 p.m. The other surviving children were discovered at 8:30 p.m., except for the ones who had gone for help. The last surviving child, the brave girl who had ventured out, was found at 9:45 p.m. Relatives shared that the girl had taken the wrong road, but they were able to track her footprints. When she was finally found, she pleaded,
"We have to go back. My siblings are dying. They're bleeding. They're shot. We have to rescue them."
Tragically, 9 people lost their lives in this horrific incident. Among them were 3 women and 6 children. But what could have those people possibly have done to deserve such a savage and atrocious attack? The theories emerge. Right after the attack, the Mexican government made a bold claim, stating that the killings were simply a tragic case of mistaken identity. According to their perspective, the attackers mistakenly believed that the family was part of a cartel convoy, which led to this horrific incident. They believed so because the area where the massacre occurred had previously witnessed a fierce shootout between rival cartel gangs. The government further argued that the gunmen, in a surprising turn of events, allowed some of the children to escape. They saw this as evidence that the cartels had realized their grave mistake. But how could such a tragic mix-up occur in the first place? Meanwhile, other members of the LeBaron family believed that the victims were targeted due to the activism of certain extended family members. These individuals had been outspoken in their condemnation of criminal groups that have a strong influence over a large part of northern Mexico. When you really think about it, it does make sense. These shameless criminals deliberately opened fire on women and children, displaying unimaginable brutality. Not only that, but Christina Langford had exited her vehicle with her hands raised, begging the gunmen to stop, yet they heartlessly murdered her anyway. Well, that doesn't sound like an accident to us. Plus, the family had recently become more vocal in their opposition to the cartels, particularly in their calls for action against the illegal trafficking of assault weapons and high-velocity arms from the U.S. Now the question is, which cartel's responsible for this vicious act? The pursuit of justice. The FBI joined the investigation and, along with the Mexican government, connected this gruesome incident to the La Línea cartel. Right before the bloodbath, there was a crazy shootout between La Línea and their rivals, Los Salazar, a fraction of the powerful Sinaloa cartel. These two cartels have been locked in a fierce battle for control of smuggling routes leading to San Diego. The authorities suspected that La Línea was targeting the Mormons, either for having relationships with their rivals, Los Salazar, or for having the audacity to speak out on guns. But the question is, for those that don't know, who is La Línea? La Línea, which means the line, was initially made up of ex-municipal police officers from Ciudad Juárez. Their main task was to establish order for the Juárez cartel, as they were responsible for marking out the drug routes or plazas within the city. When the Juárez cartel scaled back its operations in Ciudad Juárez, La Línea stepped in to fill the void in the state. Over time, La Línea took on the roles roles and responsibilities of the Juarez cartel, gaining control over the routes and plazas. It grew so powerful that it essentially absorbed most of the Juarez cartel, becoming the primary drug trafficker in Chihuahua. Not only is La Linea involved in drug trafficking, but they're also engaged in extortion and kidnappings. They've also been linked to some of the most infamous massacres in Ciudad Juarez and the surrounding regions. These include the Villas de Salvarcar massacre, where 16 teenagers were brutally killed at a high school party, the shooting that claimed the lives of 19 patients at a rehab center, and the cell phone detonated car bomb attack that killed several people. Now, you and I can both agree that these heartless individuals wouldn't think twice about ending the lives of innocent children and women, showing not even a trace of remorse. And now you must be wondering, since the authorities are taking a look at this, have any arrests been made? November 4th, 2020. Roberto Gonzalez Montes, the alleged leader of La Linea, also known as El 32 or El Mudo, meaning the mute, was apprehended as a result of a massive multi-agency investigation. Joining him in custody were two of his henchmen, Evlalio Dominguez Alanes and Santiago Casaventes Radovich, famously known as El Condor. The authorities accused Gonzalez of being the intellectual architect behind the massacre. However, at the beginning of the investigation, the authorities believed that over 100 people had participated in this massacre, and they told the LeBaron family that they would be going after each and every one of them. Surprisingly, no additional arrests have been made, leaving the family frustrated and determined to speak out and seek justice to this very day. And the question still lingers: were these murders of Mormon women and children simply an accident in the broader conflict between La Linea and Los Salazar? We may never know for sure, but ultimately, maybe the question of whether the attack on the Mormon community was a mistake or intentional isn't the main focus. Similar to the killing of Benjamin LeBaron a decade ago, the perpetrators aimed to instill fear and terrorize the people in the region. And as the small wooden coffins were gently lowered into the rocky ground, it was evident that the killers had indeed accomplished their goal.